y'all got a plan?
No, I think well, you'll hear about it here.
All right. I got it. Thank you. No, I'm good.
All right, we're up.
Here, I'll do it. Okay. We're going to move along.
Really?
Yeah, I guess. Some
What's
reason I
wrong? You
have
can't-
some
oh, you-
computer malfunction over here.
Hey, you don't mind?
All right. It is now time for us to call our Board of Supervisors meeting to order. It is September 6th. I want to thank everyone for coming and remind everyone to put your cell phones on silent, please. This time, Mr. Slade, would you pray for us?
I'll be glad to. Let's pray. Lord, thank you so much for this day that you've given to us. Lord, we will rejoice in the day and be glad in it. Father, thank you for these gentlemen and the sacrifices that they made to serve our community. I thank you, Father, for those in attendance today who are participating in their government. I pray, Father, that they will not take that for granted. Father, I pray that you will continue to guide us and give us wisdom and discernment. Lord, help us to make decisions that are in keeping with the best interests of our citizens. Father, thank you for our first responders and for everyone who keeps us safe. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Craig. Okay, we have no public comment today, so we're going to move on to old business. Do I have a motion to approve minutes?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Morrow,
Second.
second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Morrow,
Second.
second by Mr. Cross. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Mr. Slade.
Morning, Mr. President. At this time, we have a public hearing on our proposed fiscal 2017 budget. This time, I'll open that public hearing. I'll ask if there's anyone here to speak on the matter of the 2017 fiscal year budget. I would ask anyone that wishes to speak would keep their comments to a relatively short period of time so we can get through the agenda. Anyone here to speak on the matter of the budget? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak on the matter of the public hearing of the proposed fiscal year 2017 budget. This time we'll close that public hearing.
Make a motion to approve the
Second.
2017 budget.
Second.
Yeah. We'll just do it later.
Okay.
Judy, you gonna do John?
I'll be John today.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I know. Asking for an order approving the 2016 recapitulation of the real and personal assessment rolls.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Morrison to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cross. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Judy. Ms. Herring.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My first item this morning, I'm requesting authority to award the bid for the precast bridge components that were, the bids opened on August 15th to Foley Products Company. It was the sole bid received.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Morrison.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrow. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
The second item, I'm requesting approval of a copier contract with Toshiba Business Solutions for 911 addressing for 36 months. The monthly rent is $314, and it's replacing a machine they currently have.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Morrison.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrow. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next item is a copier contract for the unit system. This is a new machine, 36-month lease, $189.91 per month with Rico.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Morrison.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrow. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next item, I'm requesting sole source approval of Celebrite Incorporated for the Sheriff's Department. It's for the purchase of universal forensic extraction device.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Morrison.
Second.
Second by Mr. Morrow. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
The final item is I'm requesting approval of sole source with R. Rifkin with a Rifkin, I'm sorry, it should be a Rifkin company for elections for the purchase of election security bags. It has a TEPCO BT chamber seal that's sole source to that particular bag.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Marr, second by Mr. Morrison. Any discussion? Hey, did we talk to them? We're still gonna need these after we buy whatever machines we buy, right?
Yes, this is
Okay.
just stuff they carry their stuff in, and it has a seal. It keeps their stuff secure.
Good deal. All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thanks,
Thank you.
Bridget. Mr. Harrison. First, I want to congratulate you on no longer being interim road manager. You are
Thank you.
now officially our permanent road manager. So,
Thank you, sir.
welcome aboard.
Thank y'all. Road work accomplished and road work scheduled for September.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Cross.
Too many
Any
M's.
discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Request approval for authority for engineering service to survey Holly Bush Road for additional lane from Highway 25 to Clark Creek Road, approximately 2 miles.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gaines, second by Mr. Morrison. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Request approval to engineering service to assess the damaged pipe in Basswood subdivision.
Where's that?
It's going to be off Holly Bush.
District 4.
Is that something we've looked at before?
We've been doing some repair work out
Okay.
there.
Mr. Gaines made a motion to approve.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cross. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Then we've got the request for engineering service to assess the traffic signals at the intersection of Spillway Road, Old Fannin, and Old Highway 471 to repairs if needed, determine the timings on the signals. We're having some problems out there with those lights out there.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Cross, second by Mr. Marr. Discussion. I thought we were maxed out on Old Fannin Road on number of lights. Because at the very beginning, I know there
I
were
think it's a timing
others.
issue right now.
Well,
This
it's
is
just timing.
with the old,
We're not-
old lights.
I'm not adding them
Okay.
still.
All right.
Timing.
Okay.
Not sure they're in sequence where they need to
I got you.
back it up.
All right.
Thank y'all, sir.
No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you, Mike. All right. Mr. Parker.
Yes, sir.
Man, I got a new phone.
Give me the hard copy.
I'm good.
Thank you, Mr. President. First item I have on the agenda is Greenfield Station, lots 1 and 2, and I'm recommending approval of that final plat this
So
morning.
move.
Motion by Mr. Morrow,
Second.
second by Mr. Cross. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Second item I have is Dogwood Trace Phase 1 amended. I'm recommending approval of amended plat. They found out after they started some house construction in there, someone had started a house across a lot line. So they just had to revise that lot line, and they elected to do it by amended plat. So there's no problem with that, no
Okay.
additional work or anything.
All right.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Morrow,
Second.
second by Mr. Cross. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you. Last item, I'm recommending approval for seal digging utility permit to construct and encased a sewer line utility across Bowman Circle. That's mainly just a line going across Bowman Circle where they're gonna put their spray fields across the road from where our home is. So everything is in order. We got the permit, and then I asked for a sketch on it so I could tell a little bit more about what they were doing. So there's no problem. It's a real small line too.
All right.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Morrow,
Second.
second by Mr. Cross. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Slade.
Okay. Mr. President, first item under my agenda is to set a public hearing for September the 15th at 9 a.m. for the Clifton Yoder conditional use permit, 135 Langford Cove. That's a District 4 property.
I'll make a motion, we set it.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gaines, second by Mr. Morrow. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Mr. President, the next 5 items, B through F, are to set public hearings for October the 3rd at 9 a.m., and you can see those various items there, all set for the same day.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Cross. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Item G is a public hearing on the Joe Ellingberg conditional use permit, 2496 Highway 471. That's a District 2 property. This time we'll open the public hearing on the Joe Ellingberg conditional use permit. I'll ask if there's anyone here to speak in opposition to the Joe Ellingberg conditional use permit. Anyone? Anyone in opposition? Mr. President, I see no one here to speak in opposition to that matter. We'll close the public hearing. It'll be appropriate to take action.
Make that motion approved.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Cross to approve, second by Mr. Morris. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Ayes have it.
Next item, item H, is a matter that we're not prepared to take up. I do not have a joint defense agreement to share with you yet. This was a placeholder on our agenda in the event we did get that. We don't have it yet, so I would ask us to continue item H until the 15th meeting, please.
Okay. Do we need to vote on that?
I would, please.
All right.
So moved.
I have a motion to table this by Mr. Morrow.
Second.
By Mr. Morrison. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Item I is a discussion of and potential action to authorize a response to the letter we received from the law firm Baker Donaldson regarding personnel changes with that firm that may potentially affect our county's legal representation. I don't know that you've got a copy of this, although that it has circulated. This is a letter that we received from Baker Donaldson. As you know, Mr. Steve Eds has been affiliated with that firm for many years and has a number of items that he serves as counsel to the county on. Those items are, I'll just list them for you. There's 7 matters that he's involved in. One is the Rankin County TIFs. These would be, I believe, these are going to be our Four Corners TIFs, if I recall correctly, over in Flowood. Is that right? Or is this going to be a different TIF than that?
I think it's
Okay.
different.
I've got it mixed up.
Yeah. He's some of them, not all of them. Some of them were mixed in.
Right.
Yeah, the last one for sure.
Baker Donaldson has served as our general counsel on our 2008 general obligation bonds. There's a mandatory continuing responsibility of disclosure that goes with those. There's actually a couple of items on here that are really combined into those. A disclosure responsibility to the Securities and Exchange Commission associated with the bonded indebtedness. He serves on behalf of the county with respect to matters involving the Hines Community College District. He has served as legal counsel for the GO refunding in 2012 and the 2013 refunding. So those are the matters, the specific matters that they've asked. What they are wanting to know is, do you intend for Baker Donaldson to continue to serve as counsel on those matters, or do you intend to refer all of those matters with Mr. Eds to his new law firm? That is the question before you. They need guidance on that. So it needs to be the board's decision to determine that.
I didn't hear you mention Stonebridge. We're not talking about moving
That is not
over.
leaving.
Okay.
That stays with Baker Donaldson.
All right. Okay.
Would there be, in your opinion, is there any reason why we wouldn't move them, or do we need to?
It is completely up to the board's discretion, Jared. I would suggest to you that Mr. Eds has been personally involved in these matters, as opposed to necessarily the firm itself. And so if you leave those matters with Steve, you've got some institutional knowledge that's already there.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what I was getting at. I know the Stonebridge, it's nothing similar to that one, so.
Correct.
Okay.
Steve was
All right.
only
Good deal.
peripherally involved in the Stonebridge matter. In fact, I believe it was his suggestion that stay with Baker Donaldson, if I recall correctly,
Okay.
because I'm very satisfied. I hope you guys are as well, but I'm very satisfied with the representation we're getting on the Stonebridge case with the lawyers that are involved, and I don't see a need to make a change on that matter. So it's
Okay.
not in.
All right.
I do want to ask you a question along those lines. Knowing now, though, that I don't know, have we brought in outside counsel on our new lawsuit involved since the Secretary of State?
No, sir. That was that joint defense agreement, Jay, that we just passed over. The Secretary of State has outside counsel, and so the strong possibility is that Rankin County will be represented by the Secretary of State's attorney.
Okay, all right. So just because Stonebridge or Baker Donaldson represented us before,
Right.
they wouldn't automatically continue on.
Not with respect to that matter. That matter is not on the
Okay.
table for you guys. And my anticipation would be that you're not going to hire separate outside counsel for that.
Get
That's a separate matter.
Yeah.
altogether.
Separate matter altogether.
Make sure. All right.
I make the motion, we
All right.
move them.
All right, well,
Second.
motion by Mr. Morrow to move the business with the attorney, second by Mr. Morrison. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next item is the consideration of and potential action to authorize the retention of appraiser Jay Craig for the purpose of providing appraisal of a structure that's located on county-owned property and is subject to a reverter clause. And so that's a matter, Bob, if you want to speak to that matter, you're welcome to. But this is the case, this is the issue where the county basically acquired possession of a medical clinic down in the Florence area. That deed, where it came into the Rankin General Hospital originally back in the 90s, has what's called a reverter clause. If it ceases to be used as a medical clinic, it reverts back by way of an arrangement to the original grantors. So the county does not have unfettered fee access to that property. And also, the only entitlement the county has to compensation in this case will be whatever the fair value is of the actual medical clinic building dissociated from the property, just the structure itself. So we need an appraiser to help us determine what is the fair value of the building. So that's what this is for.
Okay, make
Make
motion
that-
approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Morrison to approve, second by Mr. Morrow. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Next item under my section is the consideration of and potential action to declare, you see the parcel ID number there, to be a menace to the health and safety and welfare of the public under section 19505. This is our Live Oak subdivision properties. Mr. Morrow has provided us with some interesting photographs that depict the condition of the property, and you see we have varmints that are in the area as well. So what we're trying to do here is a process that we have not utilized. In fact, I don't know that we've ever utilized this particular part of our nuisance process, so this will be a little bit unique. This is a case where you have a defunct developer. In fact, the developer himself is no longer with us. He's died in a car wreck. And so it's a piece of property that has managed to work its way through some tax sales only to be released and reverted back to the developer owner. It's in an LLC, and this piece of property has been allowed to grow up. There's nobody that we can go to or after for the purpose of bringing them in for a nuisance hearing. They don't exist. And so the process allows for the county to be able to actually undertake cleaning up or remediating the nuisance itself up to a limit, and the law allows us then to impress a lien for the recovery of those expenses against the property.
I asked Mr. Harrison, our road manager, to take a look at it. Most of this area and this particular parcel is mostly grown up grass and stuff. And he thinks a bush hog and a long arm for 3 to 4 days over the next 30, 45 days will help bring it back into control. I would envision it will probably have to be cut one more time before year end, depending upon when the first cold snap hits. So that's kind of looking to do something until hopefully the HOA can, some point down the road, acquire this property through the tax process.
How many acres
3 to
is
4
it?
days? How many acres is it?
It's almost 8
7 and a
acres,
half.
7.5 acres.
How many?
7.5 acres, 7.5.
How does it take 3 days to bush hog 7 acres?
Growed up pretty rough.
Look at your picture. But the thing is, though,
So
we
we
got
gotta
this
cut
same
trees?
problem, similar situation,
Then I make a motion to solve that problem too.
in
mean-
your district, and we can't. It's real similar, and we're not out cutting it up. And this snake picture, I mean, that's not. I mean, I got a picture, my son killed a snake just like that in his front yard.
My attorney asked me to provide a picture of a snake that was coming out of that grass out there as opposed to demonstrate health hazard.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, well, I mean, he doesn't have any grass, and he says a snake in his yard, so I'm saying that's,
I mean, I have no problem supporting Daniel. Y'all didn't give any money, and and the consensus of the board was we're more apt to do in kind. We've got bush hogs, we've got long arm. This is an opportunity to do something. I don't like the idea, but it's becoming a health hazard out there. I mean,
well, why can't they cut it themselves?
because their attorneys told them it doesn't belong to them. It belongs to Live Oaks LLC.
Well, then how are we gonna recoup?
We're not going to recruit squad. Nothing.
I don't see how this is just gonna open up a can of worms. Next piece of property out there that they can't get cleaned up because they can't afford to, or
Well, it's not a question
whatever.
not afford to. They just don't have the legal process to go. They can't acquire title to this property, right, Mr. Slay?
Why can't they?
Because there's no one who wants to sign on behalf
Okay,
of
then
Live
how are
Oaks
they gonna do it
LLC.
after we clean it up? I guess I thought that's what he was saying, until they could acquire.
I mean,
acquire.
ultimately, it's going to go to the state for taxes.
Okay.
After we put a lien on it, nobody's going to pay that lien. Once they get out there and realize there's a creek running through the middle of it,
Yeah.
nobody's going to do it. At some point, it's going to go to the state, and at that point in time, the Live Oaks HOA, they've already purchased the other 18 acres to the east. They have that. They've already spent $10,000 on cleaning that parcel up. And talking to Greenfield Water, they've agreed to potentially come in behind us and do whatever else may be necessary because it's impacting their sewer line and sewer structure too. So it literally has become a health issue. You got houses all up and down this creek, and nobody's going to cut it, and it falls back to us as a nuisance property. And I'm not enthusiastic about it, but that's kind of what we're here to accomplish.
What we're
sometimes.
doing is the only option that we have, to Bob's point, I think, once it is cheats to the state, and it will, once that happens, then the HOA will be in a position, I think, to work out some sort of arrangement with the Secretary of State to acquire it, and then they will have the ability to maintain it.
That's the
Is
whole
this the
goal.
part, is this the part where I heard they want to build a park?
Ultimately, I think that's what the developer was going to do at some point before he died. I mean, that was where he was going to head with it. What we're trying to do between us and Greenfield is trying to get it to a point where the HOA can take over the maintenance of it. It's not something we want to do, nor do I am going to do on a regular basis, but to the HOA can get out there and maintain it.
Well, I think if we cut it once. We don't cut it twice.
I'm not going to keep coming back. I mean, it's still going to be a problem until it gets to the Secretary of State's office and gets brought back. I
But
mean,
we can't just make that part of our, my
We can
goodness,
come
you
back-
know
we can
what all
bring
it
it back.
takes for the rest of, for us to
Under
do
the
the
law-
maintenance we're trying to do now.
I mean, it's y'all's decision on how often you want to try to do any maintenance. Under the law, you've got an entire year from the date of your declaration of the nuisance itself. You've got an entire year within, you don't have to come back. You got an entire year within which to take care of.
Once we do it,
remediating
they're
the
gonna expect
nuisance.
us to continue to keep it down, cut it.
Yeah, to that
Keep it
point.
cut. I mean, and seriously, you know that.
well, I would envision that. And this is September, so I envision probably one more time it may have to be done, before the cold snap hits, to kill it, or cut
And
it
that's
back.
just not something that we can get into, Bob. We do this, man, everybody in their district has a similar
I can
situation.
name them right now.
Yeah, let's
right off.
Line them up. I mean, I feel
I'm
strong
not-
enough about Live Oaks. This is an issue that needs to be. How many houses are on this thing? Probably 20, 30 houses on this ditch, I mean,
I mean, you can line, we can't say line them up. We've started I mean, that's what we're fixing to do. I mean, it's hard to come in and say, well, yours didn't fall exactly the way this one did, so we can't cut that one. I just think we're opening up something we don't want to get into. And it's unfortunate, but honestly, it's sad that they allowed it to get this big. It could have been easily maintained back in the beginning when it was just growing up
Oh, I agree.
moderately. I mean, they could have done that. They could have done it themselves, I'm sure.
I mean, they didn't anticipate what's the developer's name?
Yeah, right. That's been what, 8 years, 7 years? I think
I'll think of it.
when he had it, about 7, 8 years
I'm
ago.
not sure how long
It's
ago.
been a while, yeah.
Craig,
Been a while.
Yes, sir.
if we have the most resources in it
Jenkins.
with the judgment, why would the county not be interested in acquiring title for maybe a library, or we're talking about 20 years down the road. Instead of giving this away or giving our money and our resources away and letting somebody else, well, you're saying we're not going to recoup anything, and if nobody else is going to bid on it, why wouldn't the county be interested in this property?
You'll have that option under the statute.
I understand
Yes,
that.
sir. You'll have the option. The
I mean,
lien-
everybody's got that option, but we have a lot better angle at it if we're owing ourselves money.
There's a fair amount of water comes through those two parcels. I showed y'all pictures.
There's probably a
back
reason
in
why
the
it hadn't sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we're
The water's gotten onto the streets on both sides of the ditch as a result of the why it's grown up so much.
But
So there's a
yeah, I
creek.
We're
think
gonna
part of
take
that
care
though
of
is
it.
down
We're not
below,
gonna
down below from what I've understood too, there's a fence down below there that has prohibited some of the water from being able to pass through.
State, that's what the firing range is in the state, and they're required by law to put the fence up, which does impede the water flow.
But if we're going to be maintaining it, I'd sure like to own it.
Well, the lien process, Steve, is the process that we have to go
Yeah,
through.
I understand that, but I
We-
mean, just
we
looking
can-
down the road.
We can eventually own it by enforcing the lien.
Right.
The lien is there to help protect, in the event somebody did want to come in and buy, they're going to have to satisfy the lien in order to get clear title of the property. So there's a number of options available to the county once we start the process. But right now, it's in private hands.
So this is natural drainage, so it's not a possibility of it being filled and houses being built on it.
I think, no, sir.
Right,
It would be built on to begin with, had that been an option.
right.
I'll acquiesce to Jerry, if we get it cut one time, then let's take a look at it and see. I may be able to get Greenfield Water to help maybe alternate, to do something, but something's got to be done out there for these folks.
I'm not really in
Yeah.
favor of doing it one time. I think we're opening up a problem. I know we are. I thought this had kind of been put to rest when it came in the first time because of that same situation. And now we just came back with a picture of a snake.
All right,
Won't make it.
to move
I
on our
make the
agenda.
motion that we declare it a public safety hazard. It is on the agenda for public nuisance confirmation at the end of the month for the public hearing, but we want to go ahead and try to get the grass cut is my desire. That's why I had Craig put it on the agenda today. But I'm going on record to make that motion that we declare it a public safety hazard and get the permission to cut the grass.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Morrow to approve us going out and doing the work. Second by Mr. Cross. Any more discussion? All in favor say
I
aye.
have a discussion. Are we gonna go,
We'll do
Are
it
we
for one
gonna
time. I'll do it for one
Huh?
time. We'll do it for one time for
well,
sure.
wait a minute. Some things that, prior to you being here, we got a golf course, same situation. We're gonna go cut it?
Whose?
Castlewoods.
That's ours?
Well, it's nobody's. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna go cut the whole golf course.
Does it have a fence around it?
Did you hear the guy last week when he came, the mosquito
Yeah.
fella, said he had to hack himself out from that creek? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But
Same.
those are the same kind of hazards. And if it's
Exact
no
same
man's
thing.
land, I think it's our responsibility to do something with it, so.
We can't-
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Nay. So, I know for two, you vote yea or nay?
Yeah.
All right, it passes 3-2. Next item?
You better get some of your more bush hogs.
Next item is item L, is the acknowledgement of the receipt of a legal description and survey plat for the right-of-way of Lake Vista Place.
But just a minute, was that for one cutting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
We ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is a acknowledgement of receipt of the legal description survey plat for the right-of-way of Lake Vista Place. What we're doing here is basically cleaning up the records from previously. Back in November of 2011, the county received notification from the developer of the commercial business park. I think it's called Spillway Commercial Properties or something like that. This is a Spillway Road. And this is the public street that serves that little development. It's a 1.21 acre piece of property. It's a small little cul-de-sac entry road. And just through oversight, well, actually, it was because the developer didn't follow up and get the documentation together that we needed. We have now received all of the documentation that's required for us to accept this right-of-way, and this will be effective back to November of 2011 when the final wearing surface was actually installed and certified, and the warranty was put in place, and we released the letter of credit. So we're just cleaning up the records here.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a motion by Mr. Morrow. Second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Item M is the process for the abandonment of a section of what is currently considered to be public road. It's actually a very small segment of public road known as Rock Haven Road. This is in Bob's district. It's generally described as a 40-foot in width by approximately 165 feet in length segment of Rock Haven Road in the legal description that you see here. The abandonment requires a finding by the board that this section of the road does not provide primary access to occupied properties other than the property owner who is making the request. This is a request, by the way, that comes to us from a property owner. The traffic on the section has, for a period of at least 10 consecutive years, been intermittent and of such a low volume that it serves no public purpose, and the public interest or convenience does not require the section of road that is being abandoned to remain open to the public. And so this came from a property owner who wishes just basically to cut off any sort of access onto his property. He's the only property owner served. Mike and Bob and myself have actually been down there, and we confirmed that it doesn't serve any other properties. And so I think it meets all of the requirements under the section that's referred to here.
Okay.
I make a motion that we approve it contingent upon a deed being filed in the Chancery Court, Chancery Clerk's office in the name of Gail Martin. That would activate the abandonment. If that doesn't show up, then the road will stay in place.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Morrow with all those things he said. Second by Mr. Morrison. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
The next item is a discussion of and potential action to address whether Rankin County may be involved in a situation of a sinkhole on private property at 306 Lacoste Court. We notified Fox Bay Homeowners Association of the intention to discuss this today. I don't know, is there anyone here from Fox Bay?
Which one is this?
Okay.
The fee sinkholes back, right.
This is actually a piece of property that we have looked at previously.
Light pole.
You'll notice behind me that Mr. Trey Jones is here. He is lead counsel with us from Brunini Law Firm on our Mill Creek case. And because this is a continuing issue that we see, Trey was gracious enough to step forward and help us to review this situation. Back in February, you had an opportunity to review some photographs and hear from myself and Mr. Buster about the distance from the back of the curb inlet to where this sinkhole actually is appearing next to a house. Since that time, the sinkhole has been filled in, we presume, by the homeowners, which is what we suggested that probably would be the least intrusive course of action for them to take. And so apparently they did that. They initially had a barricade around the sinkhole, which was probably 3 feet in diameter by maybe 8 or 10 feet deep. It's pretty significantly deep hole there. It's because the pipe itself that has led to this problem is buried very deeply. It's a steep decline down to the curb inlet, and so it's a fairly deep pipe. It's clear from all of our reviews, and we produced photographs back in February, that the source of this problem is the method by which the electrical service for the house was installed. Whoever installed the electrical service damaged the pipe. And when they filled in the hole, they left the hole when they filled in the trench for where the electrical service was installed, they left the hole in the pipe, and over time that allowed for that hourglass type of activity, and eventually you have a sinkhole at the surface. And so that's the source of the problem here. We notified the homeowner and the HOA that those are the issues that they're dealing with, that the damage was caused apparently by a private party, that redress needed to be made to either the builder of the home or the installer of the electrical service. And so we provided that information. It's come back again with a request from the HOA to look at it again and tell them again why. And we went back through the minutes and discovered that there was no formal action taken by the board back in February/March. We didn't make any sort of decision. You guys heard the situation. You acknowledged that the county could not do anything about it under the law, and we made that notification. We didn't take any specific action. They have asked that we take specific action on it now as a formal matter. So, again, we stand before you. The facts are identical to what they were in March. No change.
I thought what we did in March would have covered it, but I guess
No,
not.
I think they just came public comment, didn't they?
No,
If I was
I don't think it was on for discussion.
Yeah,
It
they
was?
came, they
Okay.
came to the meeting in February, whenever the time frame that was.
It was
Yeah,
listed
no,
as a
that's what-
discussion item
It
and
was.
not an action item.
Okay.
And it appears that, although I had to go back and review the tape,
Yeah.
I assume that either me or somebody suggested go forward and notify them that we can't help them.
Okay.
Right.
All
I
right.
That
think
was the way
it.
of saying no without actually saying no.
Okay.
So we want to take formal action on this. That's why it's on here as an action item
Okay.
as well today.
Gotcha.
So you've heard, do you have any questions of either myself or Mr. Jones at this point?
Legally, we can't do it.
My opinion is that our AG's opinions are very clear, that we cannot enter upon private property and spend county resources to address what is a matter involving only private property serving no public benefit.
Right.
And we've got two opinions. I mean, we've got yourself, and then Brunini went out on the same side, Trey Jones went out there on
I
the
don't
same
want to put
side.
words in Trey's mouth, but I think their position is identical to what I just voiced.
Along,
Okay.
and the same side, we've had Buster go out as the county engineer, even Mike, you're out there on the same deal, and it's y'all's opinion that this is
correct.
private property, we can't go out and take action.
Till we get a drainage district done.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think the motion would simply be
Done by-
to acknowledge the request from the HOA to readdress this matter, and to, at this point, to deny any assistance from the county with respect to addressing this problem. That would be the motion.
That'd be mine.
Okay, motion by Mr. Cross to deny the request because it's illegal for us to do it. Second by Mr. Morrow. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Yeah, and it may not always be illegal for us to do it, if I can just quickly point that out. If at some point in time this issue starts jeopardizing public infrastructure, we have the authority then to enter onto what is a private easement and address whatever issues may be associated with that damage.
Right.
Right,
It's
but in the current
simply-
in the current
Current
situation,
situation, right.
There is no public infrastructure
Right.
that we can determine, best of our ability, that is being impacted by the current situation.
Well, even still, though, this, since a private utility or someone else has damaged the pipe, that would even be something else to look at.
Well, I mean,
It is, and we've
But anyway,
encouraged them to do
that's-
that.
Hopefully it doesn't come up.
Yeah, we've encouraged them to do that.
it's going to.
Well, hopefully, as soon as we have the authority to do it, we can go out and address it.
Right,
So let's move on to the next item.
okay. The next item is item O, is the discussion of and potential action regarding the
start there.
continuation of fire protection services by Monterey Volunteer Fire Department. Mr. President, this matter has sort of been late in the day arising before us. We don't have any specific program here to address how we want to address this. I do know that there are individuals associated with Monterey Fire Department who are here. And so, Mr. President, I'll leave it in your hands to structure the programming as we move forward. My thought would be that whatever address comes before the board, if we can limit that in terms of its duration, and also if we can make sure that we have, instead of the same thing being said several times, we can keep that on task. That would be helpful as well. So at this time, Mr. President, I'll open the floor up for how we want to move forward on discussing that.
I believe the board had asked Mr. Webb to come forward today, that we wanted to discuss some things with him. So I guess this time, Mr. Webb, if you would.
Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Webb.
It's kind of hard for me to do. 41 years of active service. I feel like maybe time for me to retire and let somebody else handle it. And that's basically what I'm going to do. Took a lot of thought and praying about it, and I think it's going to be the, best thing for right now for me to step down and retire and get a good night's sleep without having to worry about the pager going off.
Well, I do know you've been dedicated to it since I've been here, so I'm sure that a lot of people appreciate your service.
It is appreciated, Mr. Webb. We do
Yeah,
thank you.
I would have to agree with all that.
41 years in the fire service is amazing, so thank you for that.
Or nothing other than not even getting a pat on the back.
That's
So
right. Volunteer, that's what
I'm-
they volunteer fire service, yes.
Right.
Right.
And I'm
You've
pleased
built
to
a-
have done it. I've enjoyed it. And I hope it goes well for the rest of it.
Well, you've left a lot behind as a legacy that, you will show from your hard work and dedication. And I think the key thing is the word volunteer. And I say that over and over. We are so fortunate and blessed to have people, especially people like yourself that have been there 41 years to volunteer your time and effort. And you've seen a lot come and go. You've seen a lot of situations, and you just said so much for the community, the Monterey community that you've served. So I want to thank you for all that you've done there.
And I will continue to serve my community, just not with the department.
Right.
The other things I can do.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
We're good, sir.
Thank you.
Going forward, Bob, I guess, we would, since they are a volunteer fire group, we would like for you to work with them on
Absolutely.
helping.
Absolutely. Brett and I will both transition and work with those guys. I know, talked to you guys, went down and visited with Chief Webb and his department last week. Had a long conversation about the future of the department, and we'll work with them to build it positive, get the leadership that they need, and move on from there.
Continue on what
Keep the
they've
board
had.
informed.
Right.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Craig. Next, we have Ms. Oster.
Thank you. The first item I have this morning is approval to adopt the FY17 budget in the amount of $147,897,452.
I make a motion to approve the 2017 budget.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you. The next item is to publish the combined budget for publication.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Morrow,
Second.
second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
The next item I have is authority to adopt the FY17 tax levy of 40.24 mills for the county taxes, which represent a 0 mil increase over FY16, and 51.55 mills for the Rankin County School District, which is a 0 mil increase over last year, and authority to publish that tax levy.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Morrow,
Second.
second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you. The next item is acknowledgement of a rent adjustment due to the reappraisal on 16th section lease for parcel I8J-41, which is the location of the Central Mississippi Regional Library System. And that's allowed in the language of the master lease we have with them. It's going from, I believe, $3,800 to $4,200 a year.
Have we choose not to do anything at all?
The master lease allows for them to reappraise every so many years.
We just don't have a choice, do we?
Okay.
Motion to approve, I guess,
A second.
with a lot of heartburn.
Motion by Mr. Morrow to approve, second by Mr. Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I have an item to add, please.
Okay.
This is authority to execute a contract non-protunct to the date of the prior agreement, and this is with Diversified Company for the tag renewals and the quarterly solid waste billing with the tax collector. You know, last meeting we approved to do it under contract. Judy had given me a copy of a contract this morning, and I thought, or that other morning, I thought it was probably what we already had signed. It was not. We had a one-page agreement with them, and I believe that was in April for the tags, in June for the solid waste. And so this is just a matter of cleaning up to make sure that we have this contract in place for what y'all did the other day, allowing us to pay it under contract.
Okay.
Make a motion, we add it to the agenda.
Motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Cross. All in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
Make a motion, we approve.
Motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Cross. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Additional business? Who is going to lead this one?
Either I
Mike,
can or Mike can.
come on.
or-
Or Buster? I guess you was involved in this.
It'll
What
bring,
is it that we're
probably
doing?
multiple here.
Yeah, basically kind of what we did was, we've got this,
Wait a minute.
Oh, Tim's going to do it. All right.
Yeah, this is the Castlewood Fire Department where we had engineering service do a study on upsizing some pipes under there and Glenview Drive right there.
This is the one that we just replaced, right? That
Looking
back
to
in
replace.
March.
Haven't replaced it yet, have we?
well, we've got a temporary in place so the fire department could drive out of the bay to the fire station. But what's happened is all the water that's coming down Castlewood Boulevard from those new homes in the Willows, it's coming across the road. So what we did, we had Buster's crew and engineering services come in and do the hydro study, figure out how we keep the water from coming over the road in that area. So the answer to that is these changing out of these culverts in this area. So it's the culvert underneath the fire station along the runs in front of those tennis courts. It comes underneath to be changed out to keep the water from coming over the roads.
What was there to start with? I mean, is it,
There's two culverts there now. One of them had failed totally. I guess that was back in the first of the year.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Christmas time.
well, that's the one we changed?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's what I was thinking.
But the project's never been finished.
Okay.
They put a temporary patch over the top of it. It's just gravel, you know.
Mhm.
So it's
Okay.
if we're going to change the upside, that now's the time to do it to get all the water.
And that's why we
Have you
brought
looked at the
engineering services in
upside?
to look at how it was going to impact people downstream.
Right, yeah, we started at Glenview and looked at those culverts, the one under the club, what I'll call Clubhouse Drive that goes to the clubhouse, and the fire station, those three there. And then we looked at the impact downstream from there if we upsize it, if those culverts could be
all
upsized.
that's
And we
going into
found that
Mill
they could
Creek.
be.
What are we gonna upsize?
So we're going to be
The
fine.
Glenview is going from an 18 to a 36. Clubhouse Drive and the fire station, they're right side by side. They'll go from 48s to 60s.
To
That's
60.
a lot of water. Whew.
Somebody moving there.
It's a big ditch.
So we're not going to
How many feet?
negatively impact people downstream now?
I mean, is it a long
know we
distance or
are.
just a driveway culvert?
It's just driveway culvert.
Oh, okay.
Maybe two of them.
Okay.
Let's move it, man.
So we're gonna have to advertise this? Is this what it's
It
looking
says
at?
get quotes.
Yeah, we're just gonna get quotes. I mean, we feel
can't-
like this is
we
gonna
can't handle
be,
it?
we got some inlets that's gonna have to be poured back on this, Jared, in place. You know, it's gonna get a little out of our scope of the guys' work out there.
Glenview has curb inlets and a junction box, and there's some pipes that they're coming in at odd angles, and none of them are long enough. So really, that area, when you dig it up, it all needs to be fixed correctly, because they've been putting asphalt on the shoulder to hold it. We're just gonna get that fixed and get that rocked on that side so to stabilize it.
Okay. All right.
And basically, we feel like it's gonna fall under the 50,000, you know.
Yeah.
But we want permission to go out there and advertise.
Okay.
Tell people to turn in some bids on it.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we,
I got a motion by Mr. Cross to approve.
second.
Second by Mr. Haynes. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
Thank y'all.
All right. Do we have an executive session item? We do?
Certainly.
Okay.
We had a meeting, all right.
All right. All right. I have a motion to discuss the need to go in executive session for, what is it? Litigation?
Second.
Motion by myself, I guess. Second by Mr. Morrow. All in favor say aye. Ayes have it. All right. Thank y'all for coming.
Thank you. You going to Antioch?
Yeah, I am. I haven't been in a while.
Somebody said Jason can cook a hog.
Jason's cooking hog, really? Oh, that's gonna be sweet. Heck yeah.
Grumpy and him cooking next week. So.
Heck yeah, I'm going to the coast this
You're
week.
set to go, right? You are. We approve it. Yeah, we're good to go.
Yes, sir.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
This family been in the box up with us for years. Had been. What's all the law for?
What is it? That house that came up on our agenda last time. Old Warren turned into a house. Did we set back to your public hearing? So, where do you go? Yeah, and you got complaints from the neighbors? You better have you got complaints from the neighbors?
Appreciate it.
Another word. I know I would not be happy. Not if I had that nice a house.
That close.
Yeah, that close.
That was what was so odd. That has to be some type of relation there.
It must be.
It's got to be like
For them not to complain about it.
Why would we, thank you, I appreciate it, on this right here,
Yeah.
before I just give it away, I'd execute on my judgment.
But,
look at it.
I mean,
I know what you're saying.
the only
Thank you.
all right. No, look, the only reason that I said no, and I will continue to, is
Yeah.
will.
Well, it
and
did
I would
because of
like
him.
to buy it. If we could
Yeah,
sell
it
it,
did because-
I won't do it. But we can't sell it. Why would I want to have ownership of it?
Every
Then
inch
we're responsible to clean it.
We're cleaning it anyhow.
No, we ain't. Well, because y'all voted for it.
I just sent an email, I just told the HOA guys,
Hey,
you
man.
do it one time and you better get on your stuff together. I don't think the board's
Good.
gonna do it.
So we're not having to do none of that other stuff. And today went totally. Thank y'all.
I mentioned to Charlie that I would love to see within 60 days of an election, you know, and to start that process.
I got some in my truck.
Charlie just almost as bad as
Well, not quite, but we'll get it. Thank you. Come on. We had
All right. We have a motion by Mr. Morrow, second by Mr. Gaines to go into executive session. All in favor say aye. Ayes have it.